If you're European, you're gonna take one look at that and you're gonna be like, what's the big deal? It's old news. But in America, we've had a drought of high performance hatchbacks. So getting one of the most hardcore versions imported to the US is kind of a big deal for some people. Now, if you're like me, you've probably seen plenty of video reviews on this car or written reviews. And one thing that's really fishy to me is all the seemingly fabricated enthusiasm from people driving this car. The reactions seem just a little bit overkill. So the point of this review is we're gonna dissect really what the Focus RS is. The good, the bad, and really what are the trade-offs of taking a budget platform, compact car, and turning it into a sports car. And when you take a look at the exterior of the RS, some people might just see the Focus badge and think, well, it's just another hatchback car. But in the case of this vehicle, you have this blue paint, which also has a really strong metallic fleck in it, almost a goldish. When you hit the right light, this is a very quality looking paint job, and that is until you see all the orange peel in it. But the other bonus of this Focus RS is it's made in Germany. And a lot of the quality control that you see from European production is right here. There's not a lot of panel gap. Everything seems extremely well put together, and definitely compared to when I got done with the SHELBY GT350, this is leagues better than that car, at least on the exterior. Build quality aside, there are aerodynamic treatments on the RS that are different from the Focus ST. The front bumper's been changed. The under aero panel has been changed, and that is because you're taking a 4-cylinder turbocharged motor and just cramming so much boost in it, and the side effect is heat. So they need to get more air in there. They need to get air under the hood to cool off everything. Now this Focus platform is near the end of its life cycle. It's been out forever. The refresh did a good job of, well, making it look smoother, more modern. And the good thing here is it doesn't look totally childish. When you take a look at the upcoming Civic Type R, it looks like it's designed for 12-year-olds. This you wouldn't be embarrassed to drive. Now the meat and potatoes. This is why the hot hatch segment is so popular, because you have a lift gate. And not only do you have a lift gate, you have usable space back here. You can use this as a family vehicle if you needed to. Groceries fit back here, half-eaten roadkill, adult magazines, children's toys. And with the seats folded down, I mean, you could take road trips with this thing. But here's the problem with it. It is a compromised space, and we're gonna talk about that a lot. You need to have these front seats pushed pretty far forward to get these rear seats down. And when they're down, it's not a flat cargo area. There is a dip and a crevice in the back, which makes it a pretty big pain in the ass to use it daily. Now you do have a lot of space, and you could fit a child seat in the back. It's just gonna be up to you to get in here and see if all of that's gonna work for your lifestyle. I am back at Tri Industries, a local non-for-profit company whose mission is to employ people of severe disabilities and disabled veterans. And that's a very personal thing to me, and that is why I'm here. But I'm also here because I'm gracious enough and lucky enough to be able to do videos of the SHELBY GT350R and now the Focus RS. These are their fundraiser cars. They are trying to raise money to keep the lights on, to keep the people employed, and to support this entire facility here. So if you're an automotive enthusiast and maybe you can't afford one of these cars and really want it, you can donate, it doesn't matter how much, to their raffle. You could possibly win it, or even if you don't want to win it, you're helping out this organization. And again, it's not just about the cars, it's not about the videos and all this banter, it's about the people behind all of it. So this is it. This is everybody. And I'm so appreciative of the chance to meet everybody, to see what you guys do, and I want to wish everybody the best of luck here at Tri Industries. So thank you again.
Thank you for your support.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
From where were you at? Hot Import Nights?
Yeah, this really hit home. I picked up so many 16-year-old guys with this car. I can't talk today because apparently my mouth is still numb from a procedure I had from Hot Import Nights. So let's get this out of the way. All right, I just want to say it in the shop. This is not some unicorn car. It's not made with fairy dust.
Really?
No. it's
Man,
not.
I thought this was a pure motorsport car.
It's not a motorsports car. It's not a race car. It's Ford's global platform, a Ford Focus, just like the Neon SRT4, like the Cobalt SS, like the Civic Type R.
What
Companies,
about the Caliber?
the Caliber SRT, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't want to leave out that crowd. This is in the same vein. We've talked about this, you take a mass-produced car, and Ford sells the shit out of these things, especially in Europe. You take what's tried and true, and you tart it up. You slap go-fast parts on. And this is what you get. And it's special, and it's got a lot of hype in the US because it's the first time we get a true, well, it's not a true, but it is a hot hatch. All-wheel drive, 350 horsepower. It's kind of what everybody wants. So Ford Performance has injected some sporty elements to the front of this Focus. The main thing is airflow. You can tell this, this under tray is designed to reduce lift, create downforce, and move air into these brakes, which this car has 4-piston Brembos with 13.8 inch rotors in the front. You're typically not going to have a problem with braking on the track. You may have to swap out some pads if you're at a higher speed track, like of course Road America, where you're just going to punish these things. You have a strut-based front suspension with no alignment capability. You can't dial in negative camber on here. And from the factory, they've set about 1 degree of negative camber, which on a car like this for the street, great. On the track, not great. And so again, we're dealing with a car, and this is why I'm saying this is not a hardened track car, because it's just like any other vehicle that if you're one of those 1%ers that has to go flat out and set a fast lap on a track day, you're gonna have to do work to this car just like you're gonna have to do anything work on any other car.
Well, isn't that the whole point, is to go set the time of the day?
Yeah, in a track day. Yeah, I guess for some people it is. I don't see this being a true competition car for most owners.
Oh, no. Autocross, maybe.
Yeah, autocross, I think this might be good, but still, you're gonna have to get camber plates, or whoever's gonna make camber plates. You need more camber in this car. It's one of the biggest weaknesses when you're driving it hard. On the street, you don't even notice it. Let me just put that out there. The dampers are electronically adjustable, so driving on the street, it will go in normal mode, which I'm not gonna get into that right now, but it does have a track setting. A sport mode setting and track mode setting, so it can be adjusted to over dampen the springs. Let me just put that way. Pretty simple. The next major thing to talk about with this Focus is they've retrofitted all-wheel drive, and that's the magic of why it handles so well. But I don't want to pretend, and a lot of people seem to think that this is some fancy pants system. It's really not. This is almost like all your on-demand all-wheel drive systems in a CRV, a RAV4, your CX-5. It's very similar, with the power always being sent to the front wheels. You have your differential in the front, or your power transfer unit, that will constantly spin this drive shaft, which is 3 pieces. So up front, really, it's almost like every other cute ute, all on-demand systems. It's very similar. So the one thing that is definitely different from some of these cute utes is this drive shaft looks minuscule.
It's tiny.
It is tiny, and people have asked, well, how is this possible? This can handle all this horsepower. And the reality is, it's not always sending all that power. It's on demand. It's only sending power to the rear wheels when it needs it. The second thing is, like we talked about, this was retrofitted for all-wheel drive. The Focus platform was not designed from the get-go to be all-wheel drive. So you only have so much space to fit all this. You're not going to get some 6-inch drive shaft in here, fit in a Focus chassis. It's just not that car. But when you come to the back, the rear differential, when you look at it, again, it looks like almost all your on-demand systems. But the difference is it's hydraulically actuated. It's not electromagnetic clutches. It has 2 clutches in it, one that can activate for either side. And that is one of the huge reasons why this thing feels very rear biased when you drive it. It almost has like a 4-wheel steering effect.
It has a rear ATTS unit.
Yes, technically, exactly. So it's able to send power to either wheel based on all the sensor data. Again, you can't just lock the rear diff and turn this into rear-wheel drive. The computer system is completely in control of when that happens based on your drive modes. So Ford claims that this will send up to 70% of its power to the rear when needed. Again, it's not always going to do that. So when the computer detects yaw rate changes, much like we talk about with the Mazda, it's trying to be a preemptive system. It's looking for front wheel slip. As soon as that happens, it's transferring power back to the rear when needed. Now, with that said, right, okay, it is a Focus, but to turn this kind of into a all-wheel drive setup and have all that torque going to the rear, they've had to change and structurally reinforce the rear end of this Focus.
It's pretty structurally reinforced.
The next part is to talk about is this exhaust, and Ford Performance has actually designed this exhaust for this car. And when you look at it, for the most part, it's pretty high quality. But you can see, again, where they've had to make sacrifices for clearance. Like in the subframe area, they've had to crush the pipe. They've had to crush the whole pipe in the middle to clear the drive shaft center bearing or support bearing. So that's one thing to note. What'd you say about this? It looks like there's an electronic valve.
It's got a flapper here. Wonder if it goes tink, 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 tink like a semi when it's idling.
It sounds like it does make an audible noise. Now, you were saying you would just unscrew it. Right?
Yeah, I wonder if you could just bypass this. Obviously, you'll get a check engine light and unscrew it and throw it in the garbage.
I would.
I mean, I haven't driven it yet, so I don't know the sound difference. But
It's so minimal.
Well,
this is just a point of failure to me when I look at it, and especially in the winter. You get some salt and slurry all jammed up in there. I don't see that lasting very long. Scott, in terms of tires, thank God they're squared, so you can rotate them. Now, one of the
I would just tear through them before rotation was due.
Yeah, you could.
Put some Cup 2s on.
But that's actually the optional tire. So you can get a forged wheel and the Cup 2 tire, which I'm telling you right now, if you're going to street drive this, don't even bother. You will destroy the paint on the car. The tires are totally overkill for the street, and you will be paying out the ass for tire costs. The way that these tires are set up on this car, it feels really, really good for street driving. Now, of course, if you're going to do a track day, you would want to swap these out, of course. These are good street tires. So that's something to note about this.
I need to see it.
Oh, you're taking that Ford Performance cover.
Oh, man. That looks like pure performance right there.
Yeah, it does look like Ford Performance. That's for damn sure. Scott, we got a 2.3 liter EcoBoost turbo engine. And where did this come out of?
From the Mustang.
That's right. This is the 2.3 liter out of the Mustang, and it is different. They are using different headwork here, and it's mostly for airflow. And the other thing is this motor's facing the wrong way because it's in a front-wheel drive car. So what they've done is an open filter element here and modified the exhaust, and of course the head, the porting, and some of the things are different on the head with this motor compared to the Mustang. The bigger thing to note, as we talked about right at the beginning of the video, is managing expectations. If you're going to use this as a track car, you need to know something. This car is running 5W50 oil, which is a really good weight for high heat, but it starts to thin out about 250, 260 degrees Fahrenheit, which gives you a little bit of overhead. But the problem is this car is running a liquid-to-liquid oil cooler, which is more of a heat exchanger. It helps get the oil up to temperature, but it doesn't have a lot of thermal capacity to dissipate heat. So once you get this thing hot as hell and extended lapping, those oil temperatures aren't coming down. So you need to know that going in, that you need to just, this is not a hardened track car. That's my point. So you're going to have to modify the oil cooling system if you really want to track this hard for extended periods. Now that we're talking about the 1% hardcore track rats that are even going to have an issue with that. So again, this offers a lot of performance for what you're getting. This is for somebody that wants to buy a car and not spend $10,000, $15,000 modifying it. You can buy it. It's got a warranty from the factory. It's fast as hell on the street. You take it to the dealer to deal with. You can autocross the hell out of it and do light track days, and you're going to be pretty happy. That's who it's for, the people that don't want to do any modification. But my guess is the people that are going to buy this are still going to modify the hell out of it.
Well, once you get on the track, you're going to want more.
Yep.
It's never enough.
That's exactly right. Now that we're done looking at the mechanicals of the RS, it's time to take it out on track. Well, not this one because it's a fundraiser vehicle, but Ford's press car at an event I'm going to. Let's just tear it up. I've teleported into the Focus RS press car on track. Now this is a lead follow, so I can't go flat out, but it's gonna give me a pretty good handle on some of the more extreme handling elements that I can do on the street. First impression, much like on the street, in track mode, this car is really bumpy. I mean, it is very over-dampened, but there is a huge sense of confidence here that you get from this car that you don't get from a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and it is extremely quick. I mean, you take for granted how quick it is because it takes forever for it to get going in first and second sometimes, but for the most part, I mean, this is a really confidence-inspiring car. That's the biggest thing I can say. So hard to do this lead follow stuff. I just want to push it so much harder. But you can see this car is no slouch when it comes to kind of keeping up with the faster cars in front on the straight. And on the street, you don't feel that sense, okay, this car's got 350 horsepower, but when you're on the track, especially in third gear, you feel like it's more than enough, more than capable. Overhead here. I think for most people that are not straight up track addicts, that aren't like, you know, the people that have to be at the track all the time, this is going to impress most people that have not had, you know, a lot of experience in many sports cars, because out of the box, this is a pretty incredible setup. Again, for the track. Okay, coming off the track, this is where a lot of the hype is justified. When you're driving this thing in the turns, flat out, it's extremely competent. And I've been in a lot of cars today, specifically high performance cars, where this thing was absolutely able to hang in with them. Now, if you understand that you're gonna take this as, you know, a vehicle to track days for 20-minute sessions, that you're not gonna do hardcore timed lapping in it, you're gonna be extremely satisfied in it. Now, the thing is, let's take a look and see how it drives on the street, because they're definitely not the same thing. Now, because a car handles well, what does it ride like? A lot of times there's a big compromise there. In the case of the RS, that's the biggest compromise. This is a perfect example of how to overdampen a car. And what does that mean? What does overdampen mean to somebody that doesn't understand? Well, take a look at these short clips here, and I'm gonna show you exactly what it is.
Oh my God. Is this a... Oh my God.
I told you.
Holy shit. Wow.
God,
You'd get so
This is a
sick.
good car for if you have a baby, though, because all the people have to like burp their babies.
Somebody that's never been in a sports car before, high-end, low-end, modified, there's something I can tell you about being in vehicles with properly set up suspensions, and that is it does not have to ride like shit. And in the case of the RS, forget about using, you know, these dampers in sport mode on the street. It is so ridiculously over dampened, so poorly dampened that you just feel like you are on a trampoline riding in here. And it's even bad on the track. So if you're somebody that is, you know, wondering what a sports car should feel like in terms of suspension setup, it's not this in terms of ride quality. This is really bad. One of the worst I've ever been in. And a lot of people have commented on that. It's so bad, in fact, that when I put this thing on the lift with Turbowski, we were looking for the spring spacers to make sure that the PDI had been done properly. We checked tire pressure, and I ran this thing at the recommended 46 PSI all the way around, and I actually lowered it down to under 40 cold because I just can't believe how jarring the ride experience is in here. In terms of straight line acceleration, this does have launch control. You set it in these menus, which are extremely slow and cumbersome to get to. You hold down the clutch and rev the throttle, which I'm not gonna do. This is not my own car, and it does make a difference, and I would use it in autocross, but on the street, it's just kind of pointless. But we're not gonna use that. We're gonna do a regular start. You can feel the wheel tugging as the torque steer comes in, and you can kind of always feel the car pulling left and right a little bit, especially at higher speeds under full throttle acceleration. Well, it's because it's still a front wheel drive car, you can't get rid of it. But in the turns, let's see how this does again. Wow. Yeah, this is unbelievable how much speed you can carry and through the turns in this car. I mean, it's almost frightening. It's pretty obvious why people are so high on this car. From a performance perspective, I mean, you cannot match this really with anything else. I mean, it's gonna blow the doors off of a ND Miata. It's gonna blow the doors off an S2000 and likely an STI with the right tires. It's so competent and confidence inspiring that it's unbelievable what they did for $40,000 here, I'll be honest. So while we're on that topic of good, let's talk about the other positives. The clutch and the transmission feel are really good for a car like this. This kind of gives me a feeling like a throwback to the 90s when manual trans in compact cars were, you know, pretty damn good because they were rod shifted here. This has such a solid feel. The clutch take-up is really easy to use, and anybody that is kind of just learning manual transmission is going to enjoy it, including somebody that's experienced. The steering feel, despite whatever mode you're in, you have a linear steering rack. It doesn't speed up or slow down based on your mode. It's always constant, and it feels, well, about as good as you can possibly get on a front-wheel drive car in this range. On to the most negative part of the RS, and it's not the performance, but the reality is you're not doing this. You're not going flat out in the turns all the time. And as a regular, everyday car, here's my issue. It just doesn't feel special. I feel almost nothing driving it. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's built on an economy platform. It may kind of look the part, but it's only going to have that prestige factor to those who know what this is. But to everybody else, it looks like a $20,000 car. And that's something I didn't get getting into the SHELBY GT350 or a lot of other performance cars. It just, I don't feel anything, and I'm sorry, and that could be due to age. If you're younger and you've never been in a lot of sports cars before, you may really like this. This might be your dream car. And I'm not going to take that away from it because there is a lot of good here. But the bad outweighs a lot of the good for me. The constantly being controlled and throttled back by the ECU. The ECU's always cutting power and timing in first and second gear to keep the power put down. It's the fake engine noise that's being pumped through the speakers. The cheesy sounding exhaust inside. There's just too many little things that add up to, I don't know, kind of killing the fun of it for me. When you get inside the Focus RS, The first thing you're going to notice is these Recaro seats. Now, if you are somebody that is younger and you're okay with getting in and out and twisting to get in and out of these seats, you're going to love them. Not only that, is they are nearly perfect for performance driving and track driving. The Alcantara center is super grippy. The outer bolsters are leather and very supportive. These are extremely good seats from a performance perspective. Now, if you're going to use these every day, that's where they fall apart. And they fall apart mostly because of the lack of adjustability. And the lack of adjustability, I believe, is going to be a pretty big deal breaker for a lot of people. I cannot get this cushion to go down any farther than this. Now, it does go up a fair amount, which is great, but you already sit pretty high in this car. And the worst part is this bottom cushion is at an angle, an upward angle all the time, and it digs into my thighs. And everybody I've gotten in here said the seating position feels like shit. The next thing you're gonna notice is all the RS specific treatments they've done in here. The logos at the bottom of the steering wheel, the blue stitching throughout, and this steering wheel feels extremely good, very sporty, perfect ergonomics. The only thing I can complain about, I wish the diameter was smaller, but it feels so good in the hand. There's blue stitching on the door panels, on the shift boot, on the parking brake, and the seats pretty much all over the place. And then there's RS logos stitched into the seats. Now here's the thing about this. If you took away all these little accents, you'd be left with what feels like an $18,000 Ford Focus. And that would be fine if you were paying that amount. But this is a $40,000 car. And when I was driving this vehicle, that's one of the things that I said, it just doesn't feel special. But the rest of this just looks extremely dated, right down to these. Looks like Ford went to AutoZone in the 99-cent clearance section and bought this gauge cluster for the top here, for your boost, your oil temperature and oil pressure gauges. It just looks so cheap. If this is going to be your first sports car and you haven't been in and out of a lot of vehicles, this may not even bother you. Or if you're just going to track the hell out of this and go and have fun, you can care less about what the interior is like. You're just going to drive it. But it feels pretty good overall. The input points are all, the leather on the steering wheel, the shift knob feels good, the parking brake feels solid, the rotary knobs all feel good. But then it starts to fall apart in the driver area. Let's talk about some of that. The pedals and the pedal placement. Well, you have a dead pedal here, which is nice, and it is covered unlike the Mazda cars. The clutch pedal take-up feels really good. It's light. Somebody that doesn't know how to drive stick is going to get in here and learn this pretty quick. The brake pedal is extremely solid, and the pedal travel is immediate. It's almost like an on and off switch. Then you get to the accelerator or the throttle pedal. This is where I cannot believe they let this out of the factory this way. It's almost impossible to heel to toe this car unless you have size 5 shoes, because the transmission tunnel intrudes where your heel would go. So you kind of have to sidestep it. And I noticed I had problems with that too. And that is because this accelerator pedal actually deflects left and right. It bends like it's soft rubber. And I can just barely touch it and it's moving left or right. To me, this is totally unacceptable. I mean, there are sim pedals that are more solid than this that you can get for $100. My guess is the aftermarket is going to fix this problem. But I mean, come on, for $40,000, you can't give me a throttle pedal that doesn't move around? Last but not least are your infotainment and your central command display. And your central command display is right in front of you and it's controlled through the steering wheel. Now you can get through all your functions like launch control, hill start assist, all your trip meters, all of that is in there. Now, I would say it's not too bad overall, but when you actually have to go in there and get to something, this system is so slow. Menu jumping seems like it has such a lag and delay to load the next screen. Now that is corrected because they made up for it with the new Ford Sync setup, which I talked about in the GT350. They got rid of Microsoft and what you get is one of the better infotainments now. While it doesn't have the graphical user interface as the Uconnect on the Chrysler, it makes up for it in simplicity, speed, getting around is simple, and it seems to always work. There doesn't freeze up a lot. It doesn't seem like it has a problem connecting to Bluetooth on multiple devices. Now the back seats, well, I think they're gonna be fine for kids, and they're fairly comfortable, but I would not wanna be in here on a long trip. They're very upright. They're a little bit stiff on the back, and your headrests are okay as well. But if you really want to totally screw with somebody and make them sick and probably be covered in puke in the back, put the suspension in sport mode or track mode and put a passenger back here and drive on some concrete surfaces. That's the best part. Now, after driving the RS a little bit on track, driving it hard on the street, I've come to a conclusion. Now, most people are gonna think, God, did this guy just shit all over this car? He hates it. Well, that's not the case. The point is, this is a hardcore, high-performance, hyper-focused hatchback vehicle, something we haven't had in the States. And I think most enthusiasts are gonna be surprised at its level of performance in terms of transmission, power output in third gear, especially on the track, and just overall handling capability and how easy it is to drive it fast. But I think those hardcore enthusiasts are also going to be surprised at the trade-offs. The ergonomics, some of the quality, and suspension setup is just a killer deal here. And I think for $40,000, it makes it pretty polarizing. This is not a vehicle I would buy sight unseen. I would say if you're interested in this, make sure you do an extended test drive before you sign on the dotted line.